Whoa.
Ooh.
Well, welcome everyone. Yeah, no, we'll get started and I'll continue to let people in as they arrive. Lovely to see everyone here tonight. I'm Chris Cuthbertson, president of ACTRA Maritimes, and joined tonight again with Kirstin Howell, our head of our training committee at ACTRA Maritimes and also our wonderful ACTRA counselor. And who do we have with us tonight, Kirstin?
Well, we have two of Atlantic Canada's fabulous talent agents. We have Ciel Crosby from Sky Talent Group and Laura Thornton from Anchor Talent. And who wants to start? Just kind of introduce yourself.
Well, I'll start since I'm the old one. And she's like my little sister. Like we work very well together. I've actually been an agent 29 years last month. I'm shocked because I still only think of myself as being 30, but apparently I'm not. I was with another agency for 10 years and I only represented kids then. And then 19 years ago in February, I started my own agency. And shortly thereafter, I started representing adults as well as kids. I still love what I do. And I love that Laura's just going gangbusters. I'm a huge proponent of, together we rise. And, anything she wants from me, she knows she can have it. And we have a couple other up and coming agencies too that I'm wholeheartedly willing to be supportive and to mentor or answer any questions. That's it.
So I guess to dovetail off of that, for everyone who doesn't know me, I'm Laura. I have been kicking around the film industry and the theater industry here since I was a little kid, but Anchor is new. We're a year and a bit in now. I launched it during pandemic. I'd been working full-time at Neptune in the box office and lost my job because of COVID. We kind of did the 5 months of CERB thing. Was like, I need to find a new job, and kind of took the temperature of what was happening in our local industry and realized that that the market was ripe for a new agent. And I've been thinking about doing it for a long time, and had we talked to Ciel about it and a few other people, and kind of decided to strike while the iron was hot and was able to launch. And I kind of feel like I might have not been off more than I could chew, but more of a, oh wow, okay, we're gonna get started. I truly was like, I'll have like 5 clients, it'll be a nice easy way to start. And now we're a year in and there's over 100 folks on the team, and it's been amazing. And I feel so incredibly welcomed by everyone who has just been really supportive of Anchor getting off the ground. And, these other agencies that are popping up too, I love to see it. As Ciel said, the more of us who are able to showcase what Nova Scotian talent is, the better. So I'm all for the teamwork.
That's awesome. And I love that about the two of you. I've always found that both of you are so willing to help out and to give extra time of yourselves. And I really respect that. Ciel, I have a question for you. How many clients are on your roster?
A lot. You know what? I don't even have an exact number right now, but a lot. But what that's meant is I have a full-time helper now. Right now she's only working part-time because we're not filming a whole lot, but it meant that I created employment for somebody else. And I think this year, if this year is as busy as last year, we'll have another person on board just to help with payroll. But yeah, I started off very small. I used to say I was, when Bob and Brindle ran Cassidy, I used to say they were the Bay, a beautiful department store with everything you could need. And I was a little funky boutique on a side street in downtown Halifax. Now I guess I'm the Bay.
Yeah, you're the
Bay. But I love it. It just, as I need more help, I'll bring on more help.
I love that. I'm kind of in the same boat, realizing that I'm probably going to have to hire somebody to help me this year too,
Yeah.
which as an very fresh in this business, I really didn't think I was going to get there. And I think that just again speaks to the quality of talent that we represent too, is that we're in a position to be like, oh boy, I need somebody to help me with this because there's so much going on.
What a great problem to have, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a question for either of you. What are your pet peeves?
Love it. Okay.
I'm just gonna get right into it. Like, what drives you crazy that your clients do that you're like, could you please not do that anymore?
Mm-hmm.
We need to know.
Number one, sending me materials that are not labeled with your name. I get so many things that are called like resume or headshot. Once I download that, I'll never be able to find it on my computer again. And it's such a small thing, but it does mean that your materials get lost. Laura's turn.
Right.
That's a good answer. Can I stick with that one? So not to ruffle any feathers. I think for me, and like, again, these are such like weird little like personal picadillos. Mine is definitely, if I send out an audition call, I love when if you're sending something back to me to resubmit, keep it in the same thread. Like I sometimes will have actors, they won't label it properly and they'll send it back separately. And I'm like, well, there was 72 in this email and now I've missed yours because you sent it to me in a completely different format somewhere else. And that's just a me thing, because again, it's a time management more than anything. And it's not really annoying. It's just more of a
right. They're making your job a little bit harder.
Yeah.
And
so I guess like what I said to my team at the beginning of last season was, there's 100 of you and there's one of me.
Yeah.
And I'm doing my best, but you got to meet me halfway sometimes.
Yeah.
Totally.
That and calling at like 10 o'clock at night. I have a personal life. Don't do that.
I had somebody text me at 4:30 this week.
In the morning.
Yes.
Were
Now,
they
I know that a lot of I know, thank God I had my phone on silent, because if they had woke me up, I would have been howling. But yeah, like if it's an emergency, by all means call us at 10:30 at night, but not if it's,
Sweet.
hey, do you like this headshot?
On a text, but you could do that on an email, right? Because that wouldn't buzz or whatever.
Yeah.
But that brings me to another question. For both of you, what are your office hours? Do you hate when people email you in the evening because you feel compelled to respond, or?
So I do 9 to 4 every day. Some days I'm in here 9 to 5, but I do 9 to 4. And so what happens in my life, because I have teenagers at home still, is I finish my work day, I give them supper, I get them off to whatever they're doing that night. And then usually around 9 o'clock, I will give a quick pass again before I go to bed to emails. If I see something that has to be answered right away, I will answer it. If it's like, if Kiki's like, hey, do you want to go for lunch next week? I might wait till the morning to answer that, but I do try to give at least a pass in the evening. But I do recommend, if you want our attention, like get a hold of us during normal office hours. I sit at this desk 9 to 4 every day. And like, that's like, you'll have my undivided attention. If you try to get a hold of me at 7:30 at night, chances are I'm driving one kid to ballet, I'm taking the dog for a walk, I'm throwing in a load of laundry, I'm just doing the other parts of my life.
Right. What about weekends? Sorry, Laura.
Here's a good tip. Taylor Olson, who's an angel, does this thing that I absolutely love. And I'd say all actors, it's a good thing to do. He gets a brainstorm on a weekend. So he will send me an email, and in the subject matter, he says, brainstorm can wait till Monday. So I know immediately that it's not a panicked thing, right? That's a great thing. Or if it was a panic thing, he would put, this is urgent. But put in your subject matter. If it's something that can wait till not on the weekend, by all means, if you get, just make sure we know that you're not needing, if you're lost on your way to set in Lunenburg on Saturday, I need to know that, versus, hey, what's coming up this season? What shows are coming up? That's a casual like Monday morning drinking my coffee, I reply to that one, right?
And I'm a little bit more ephemeral, I guess. And that, I'm the exact opposite. Like it's just me, and the dog. So last year there was a lot of me trying to become a new dog parent and start like deal with this business, because I also have another business, a PR and social media business that I run, that I've been doing since I graduated university in 2005. No, 2009. I don't know how old I am. What is time? It doesn't matter.
2005 was your high school graduation. Even I know that.
It might have been there. It's fine. For context, Ciel and I have known each other pretty much my entire life, because I'm only a couple of years older than BJ. So for me, I do try, I am available 100% to my actors, basically from 9 a.m. till 8 p.m. I do prefer not to get communications in the evening. That is my personal time, but like my phone's on me. And I keep it on because I'm juggling a lot of clients, and luckily, and I'm very upfront with my team when they sign with me. It's like, as of right now, unfortunately, this one job can't pay all my bills, so I do have business clients that I have to answer to still. Working towards this being my only job. That is the goal, and if we all keep it up, it will be.
I think it will be, yeah.
But I'm not a huge fan of being communicated with on the weekends, because I do like to have some personal time where I do try and be so open. And one thing that a challenge that I had to kind of navigate around in the beginning was that a lot of the folks who joined Anchor right away are friends of mine. Yeah. And so, because I grew up in the industry, it's like I know a lot of people. And so trying to find those boundaries of like, hey, if this is a work thing, can you email me versus Facebook message or text? Because if I get a Facebook message, I'm going to feel more compelled, like I have to answer it right away. And that's something, just on a personal level, I'm trying to be better at my work-life balance, because I'm notorious for going, absolutely, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I can finish that for you. Let's do it. But that's not helpful for anybody. So definitely working on and going into this season, be like, okay, 9 to 5 would be ideal, but understanding that we'll probably get casting calls at 9 o'clock at night as soon as the season gets going. And so like the job is what it is, but in a perfect world, business out, if it's daylight, you can talk to me.
That's great. I'm guilty of that too. I sometimes message Ciel or other people. I'm like, that should have been an email. Sorry. Like, this is not.
I also like emails. I also like emails because then I have a good record of them. If you text me, I have my phone is so busy that texts disappear like every 30 days, or it might even be every 14 days now, because I had to clear up a room. Like
you're fancy. You just clearing your texts because you're so busy.
My 14-year-old had to show me how to set it up to do it automatically.
First time hearing of this.
So I lose things in texts. And also, like, if I drop my phone and it smashes and I get a new phone, then I won't have those texts. So that's why I love emails. And also, like, what I say to people is text me when it's an emergency. I'm on my way to set. I'm lost. I need your help. That's when I want you to text me, not when, hey, what's up? Like,
right.
I'm on the wrong page.
To people, because I always feel like it's like, please don't try and be social with me. That's not what we mean. It's just more of a, pick your moments.
Listen, there's times where I know that Laura does this too. There's times I'm very social. Like when I got married, the entertainment at my wedding was all actors I represented. It was their wedding gifts to me, arranged like music and harps and so I mean we do social as well, and it is, I think it's harder here in the Maritimes because we're a small market, and by nature we are sociable people, and many of my clients I consider really dear friends.
Yeah.
So it is always, it's always trying to find a balance, right?
Exactly.
Totally.
I'm just sitting here feeding my dog a treat every 3 seconds. He's going to be 6.
I'm doing the same with myself. Interesting. So that brings me to another question. What are your favorite things that your clients do? What makes a client stand out in your mind that you really remember them and really say, oh yes, they're at the top of right at the tip of my brain, and I'm going to send them in for everything?
I think for me, I think because I'm so passionate about what we do in an industry, like the clients that I resonate the best with are the ones who come with the same energy. Like I'm just so attracted to working with people who love what they do as much as I do, because then it's fun. You know, I've said this before, as my theater folks laugh, this is part of the Patton and Thornton pep talk, but like we are so lucky that we get to make a living.
Hey, bye, Dad.
Like,
Can't wait to watch tonight. See you later. Oh, what's happening?
I was in the middle of a moment, Lindsay Waters.
Yeah.
Lindsay Waters has joined the chat.
Hi, Lindsay.
Sorry.
Make Lindsay pay later, Laura.
Exactly, I got this. But for me, it's all about making sure that I'm working with people who come in with the same energy as I do, because how lucky are we to get to make a living making things up?
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, we work in entertainment. How lucky are we to do that? And so if we find ourselves in a situation when we're not enjoying that anymore, something's gone wildly off the rails. And so I think that, you know, the clients who come in are like, I have taken these workshops, I have new headshots, I am passionate, I'm excited about that energy, like I'm a big believer that anybody can act. Like I really do think that with the right direction and the right coaching, anybody can get there. And so, you know, maybe I have a couple people on my roster, non-union, who I'm like, it's going to take you a while to make it to union status, but you want it so badly.
Yeah.
Then I'm excited to rep you. And those are the folks that I remember. And those are the folks that I want to work with, because that passion keeps like I'm sure there was times last summer when I was just like screaming into the void via Facebook Messenger to Ciel, like, why did I decide to do this? This job is so stressful and stupid. And then having those actors come through who are like, I got an audition for something and I'm so excited. I'm like, there it is. That's what I love.
That's great to hear.
So now what I like for my actors is, first of all, I love it when people read a full email with all the instructions. There's nothing that makes me happier. There's nothing that's more frustrating when I've sent out 10 emails and people have only read like maybe the first line and they're asking me questions and it's in the body of the email. So I love people who pay attention to those details. Like read it through, and then if there's information that I have missed giving you, ask me that, but don't like, and if you know me well enough, like if Kiki did that, I would be like, did you read the damn email? I can't be like that with people who don't know me well. Much more polite, but with her or Chris, I'd be like, but come on, right?
Yeah, and you have.
And I love people who approach this as, there's a lot of people in our business who are just dreamers. They just dream, but they don't want to do the work. I love people who if I say, hey, here's how you make a resume, I love it when they get that back to me right away. I have actors on my roster who haven't updated their photos in like, I don't know how long, or haven't even joined Actors Access, which is free for the actors, even though I have been hammering about join the casting sites. So I love people who are big dreamers, but big doers. It's like, how do I get to the next level? How do I make sure I'm seen more? You know, like what else can I do? I enjoy that energy because that's definitely my energy, you know, like how do we go forward?
I love that. And then should people, like, how often should people be checking in with you? If they haven't heard from you in a while, how often is it appropriate to be like, hey, blah, 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 to send you a little email?
I don't have like a set, like, oh, you should call every so often. If you hear something's in town, if you've heard about a project that's coming up and you want to check in about that, sure, shoot an email. You know, I know that in the old days, we used to say to everyone, you should call in every week. I just think like a simple email saying, hey, I heard about Washington Black. Is there anything for my hit so far? Just, but whenever, like, and there's no really wrong answer. If you're the type of, like, I have some actors who I hear from every week, and I have some actors who, well, I have one who's on a cruise ship right now. So, and I'm still hearing from him, but not like I normally would, right? He's working on a cruise ship for 6 months. I don't think there's any right or wrong answer. You don't want to be calling every day. And you want to be checking in when you have something specific, you know, hey, is tourism going again soon? Or do you have any intel on Diggstown? You know, it's like if something pops up that you want to check in on, that's a good time to check in.
I 100% agree with that. I'm not great with needy people, which is ironic that I work in film with actors. I'm allowed to say that. I am one.
Good luck.
Now, I've got a question, Ciel, that someone sent in, and it's similar to what you were just mentioning, and they're saying, does an actor work for an agent, or does an agent work for an actor?
Oh, I think we're a team.
I
think it's like, and maybe some other agents don't feel this way. It's a team. We're both working together for the same goals. And you as a performer need to be working with an agent who you feel gets you and understands what your goals are. But, you know, you also have to be realistic. Like if Chris calls me and says, hey, there's a role in Washington Black and it's a 30-year-old guy on a horse, I would be like, no. You know, you have... No,
absolutely.
Like, and it is a team effort, and communication goes both ways. And there are going to be times when you, as a performer, are sure you're right for a part when you're absolutely not. Chris has directed a feature. He knows this. I'm sure every friend you had in the industry wanted to be in your film, and most of them were not the right fit for the character.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think for all of us getting involved in acting, it takes a certain amount of time before we realize that. But
yeah,
when you first into it, and for a number of years, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years.
Yeah.
If that character is the same age as you, or 10 years on either side, or 15 years, whatever, people think, hey, I'm in that age range. I'm totally good for that. And not realizing more and more, you mentioned their hit earlier, whatever the terminology is, but you know the different things that people are best suited for and the likelihood of them being cast for those jobs when those auditions come along. So
I do like to submit against type.
Yeah.
Like if you say high school girl bully, that's, you see the Hollywood version. But I might like to submit Maya Serbu for that role. Or like I like to submit against type as well, because I think it's interesting. Like I'd really, you know, in days past, the sexy girl was always a size 0 and had a very specific look. I know some really sexy chicks who are like size 16, and I will submit them for the sexy chick. Like I'm going to submit against type, unless it's absolutely wrong. Like I'm not going to, you know, I'm very realistic about age. Most people play within 5 years either side of their actual age. You know, I get resumes sometimes and people have a 20-year age range on their resume. That's not.
When that happens, I go, you know that 4K is a thing, right? But lovingly,
terrible thing.
Like Ultra HD is a thing. Like you can't get away with a 20-year age range anymore. No. Like I'm sorry.
No, you really can't. Yeah.
And you mentioned, yeah.
And beauty is at any age, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I know Ciel and I know Kirstin and I talked about this as well, and Laura too, over the past year or so. But when you talk about against type, there were a number of instances where you've seen, because of all the self-tapes that we've been doing, all sorts of interesting things happening, right?
Yes. Honestly, I know actors are still complaining about doing self-tapes, but
some of the best auditions I've seen are from self-tapes that you guys have been doing. Like I've been doing this a long time on the audition side, and allowing people to have the power to be in the room, figure it out themselves, or with somebody like Kiki, like without the pressure of sitting in front of a the casting director. The work is great, and I think that's why we're seeing so many more people getting hired, because like the work is good, and
we've seen people. I'll take Chapelwaite for an example, because Chapelwaite was the first show that was 100% self-tape. I mean, she did one little session here and one little session in Toronto, but everybody was cast through self-tape. And there was local performers who, in the old days, when they would come to town and do 3 days of auditions, that would have never been seen, who ended up being series leads. And that's the power of the self-tape. So like I love self-tape. I had 2 guys get to go and work on Son of a Critch in Newfoundland because they did a self-tape. I believe Kiki actually did help them with both.
I think it did, yeah. I think it did.
And that's exciting. And before COVID, that probably wouldn't have happened. COVID really broke the old, if you're not in Toronto, then you're not this level of actor, because everybody is self-taping now. And it really, it's one of the positive things that has come out of the last 2 years of horror.
Absolutely. Yeah. And people have been asking me, do you think that self-tapes are going to continue to be the norm? Yes. What are your takes on that?
I think self-tapes are going to be first round of auditions for good now.
I agree.
Callbacks are going to be in person or on Zoom. I just think that it's opened everyone's eyes that rather than seeing 3 people for a role, you can look at 40 self-tapes in an hour. You watch the first 30 seconds. You'll know the first 30 seconds into a scene if they're hitting the character the way you want it.
Yep.
And
also just from a practical business point of view, it's so much cheaper. It's so much cheaper.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
At the end of the day, a casting director who's owns their own business, why on earth would they pay to rent an office when they can do the entire first round digitally? It makes perfect sense. And so I think that we're going to see a move to a hybrid now that the world is reopening. But I think that I agree completely with Ciel. I think self-tapes are going to be the round 1 auditions from now on, and callbacks those will be in person.
So get really good at doing them. Just keep upping your game. And I highly recommend working with Kiki. Chris, you used to do self-tapes too, but I know now that you're fancy and work for NSCC, you probably don't help anyone anymore.
I think Kirstin does a fabulous, wonderful job, and I highly recommend it. So, and I'm happy to help her out anytime. But yeah, no, she does amazing, and she's doing fabulous.
Yeah.
And there's another performer in town who's moved here from Toronto who's opened a self-tape studio, and whose name
right around the corner from me. Yes. Elena something?
She was on Digstown, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. She used to, I think she did a lot of coaching and self-taping in Toronto. So yeah. I wish it would be another.
And I wish I had more information, but she's done a few self-tapes for my clients and they look great. I need to connect with her.
Her name's Neve, and she's in Vancouver right now shooting. I know that for sure, but it's Base Camp is her self-tape thing.
There it is.
Yeah, Base Camp.
So Lindsay Waters, for those of you who don't know, is the stage mother to end all stage mothers. If there's anything you want to know about
Fight.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to play Judy lunch now.
Our next boozy lunch is going to be very awkward now, Ciel. Good job.
Oh, stop.
So,
Kevin Gerwa says in the
Lindsay,
chat that he thinks Lindsay's a good trucker too. Sorry, Ciel, go ahead.
Judy and Lindsay are the most experienced stage mothers we've had here in many, many years. And they're the queen of doing whatever crazy things I ask them to do.
And
And
vice
they
versa.
really do. Like, if you want to know anything about the IPA, they've probably got whole sections of it memorized. And they're also hilarious and great lunch dates.
Love you too.
Now we had a question in the chat for you, Laura and Ciel. Aline, if I'm saying her name right, Aline Cinema says, in your opinion, what makes, this is a big question, a good self-tape?
Wow.
I think for me, it's, again, I imagine Ciel, you were gonna have a similar response. It's following the directions.
Oh, yes.
Honestly, if you, I send them back. I do, like, for my team, like, I do watch every single submission. I really do. So that's, you know, sometimes my actor's like, why is your deadline 4 hours earlier than the submission deadline? I'm like, so I can watch it and tell you it needs to be redone if it needs to be redone. But for me, it's making sure that you're framed properly. You got to be well lit. You got to be off book. Like, you got to be off book. And I know that that's hard. I know that's hard. And if you can't be off book, put it on a poster board behind the camera and read it like you're on Saturday Night Live, because it's, you know, that's the thing I've heard the most is from casting directors is, if I see one more script in hands, I'm going to lose my mind. And it's, yeah, sometimes you have 24 hours or 36 hours turnaround, and that's really hard. Fake it. It's because if you can't get out of your own head enough to be in the moment and actually audition, and I'm sure Kiki would agree with this as somebody who coaches it, but it's like, if you can't get out of your head enough to be in the moment, then what was the heck's the point? Yeah. Like, why are you submitting? Because you're just doing a cold read.
Totally.
And, yeah.
I have a couple of technical things. We shoot this way.
Landscape.
Think YouTube, not TikTok. No TikTok. YouTube. I like you to be in front of a plain wall or background. Some people, I have a really cool flip up. It folds up and then you flip it out and it's a backdrop. But in a pinch, a plain wall is fine. I want to be able to see you. I want to be able to hear you. And I want to know that you have read when I send you a script for an audition, I want you to read the whole thing, every bit of info that's on that script, not just your lines. Read the whole thing like you're reading a book. Understand what's happening in the scene. And if you don't understand, I think I see a little person peeking in on Judy's camera.
Yes.
If you don't understand, ask questions. Ultimately, your job as an actor is to make choices, and I can send 5 actors the same script, and some person will say this character is angry, and one will say this character is hurt. Play the way that feels natural to you, unless you're directed to do otherwise in the information around the scene. And don't worry about fancy editing.
Yeah.
I do want it all in one file, unless they tell you otherwise, because honestly, when you upload like 5 files onto the casting site, these casting directors, they're super busy. They don't want to have to click on all your different files. Sometimes they will ask you to upload them separately, but if they don't, assume they want it in one neat package. Okay, I think did I cover everything? Kiki's our expert. She actually did a video for my clients on how to do a self-tape. I hired her to do a video.
Good idea. I may
They
be calling
weren't
you later,
listening to
Kiki.
me.
Sorry.
Oh, yes, Wendy, please.
Yeah, I have a question about the reader. Now, like, if supposing the other actor is a female, right? And now I'm here with my lovely hubby. He does the reading for me. So sometimes I'm reading my part, and he's supposed to be, you know, like, I'm Shirley, you know, but he's reading his work. I mean, is that okay, or should I really, you know, go out and try and find a female to do the reading?
It's fine.
Yeah.
Number one thing that negative feedback, and Kiki, do you remember?
Yes.
Can I tell the story?
Don't tell them.
So Kiki has a lovely partner who's not an actor, and he was helping her with the self-tape, and he decided to really act. The casting director was like, who is her reader? Thinking it was one of my actors. And I said, well, that's her partner. And they're like, tell him, just say the lines. I don't want him to try to act. And Kiki redid the take.
It was so sad because
he was giving it his all.
Yeah, he was just like doing the voice of the thing. And that's one thing, Wendy, like, do make sure that when your partner is reading for you, that they're not doing voices.
Yeah.
Which I have heard is also very distracting. And I know a lot of, like, my mom does that if she ever reads for me. And I'm like, can you please just read it like a person? Thank you. Yeah. Regardless of the gender of the character.
Yeah. Okay,
I was helping some of my actors do self-tapes in the beginning of pandemic, and I got dinged by Erin Hennessy because she went, I need you to stop acting too. Could you stop? And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, you are also auditioning. You need to just read. So, it's an easy trap to fall into. And I think that, just remembering whoever's reading, as long as they can enunciate, you're good.
Don't use puppets, right?
Don't use puppets. You know what?
Did they put the puppets on the tape?
Yep. And so if you have a scene partner, this actually kind of goes, somebody just asked a question about this. So if there's multiple characters in a scene, your reader can read all of them. Because again, there's not supposed to be any acting involved on the reader's side. So don't worry about props. Don't worry about stand-ins. Don't worry about any of that stuff. And for the love of God, don't use puppets.
Unless you're auditioning for the role of a puppeteer.
Yes.
Right.
We do
100%.
not want to see a
Yeah.
So funny. However, do remember, if you are speaking to two characters in a scene, you'll want to have different eye lines for both of those people that you're talking to. So mom's over here, I'm talking to mom. Now I'm talking to dad. The reader is only going to be in one of those places. So you'll have to just find a mark on the wall for the other eye line. And that's a really good thing to practice beforehand because it can get a little bit confusing sometimes.
Thanks, Kirstin. I think Jody Raffy was just asking sort of that in the chat as well. And he said you could use different eye lines for different characters you're talking to, right?
Yes.
So you're not always looking at the same place. So
yes.
Yep.
Perfect example of that last season on Digstown with the therapy group that they did with the episode about trauma survivors of sexual assault. That was a really hard scene to audition for a lot of my young actors because there's 6 people in the scene, they're only one of them, and they're supposed to be sitting in a circle looking at everybody. So that was a really great exercise of they literally put tape. Like one of my guys just put tape, like 5 pieces of tape on the wall. And so he stood there so he knew exactly where everybody was. And those are like those little hacks that, again, because of self-tapes, you can do. It's a little different when you're in the room, you're like, oh God, who am I supposed to be looking at? You can take it whenever you get stressed out having to do that self-tape, go, you know what, this is actually a gift. I can take some time and figure this out so it's a little less stressful.
If you haven't taken a class in self-taping, I know Kiki does them on and off, usually through Neptune's theater school for the adult division. I highly recommend it. Just so you're comfortable, just so you know exactly what you're doing. It's a great investment in your time. Dale Willman is also working with beginning actors on self-taping. And I think Neve also is, who's away right now, is also like, invest a little bit of time. It's not terribly expensive and it will make you just feel so much more comfortable doing self-tapes.
Totally. I have another question here from the chat. Do you like when an actor does a few different takes on the same self-tape or to see like different options, or do you prefer just one take of the scene?
It depends on how long the piece is. If it's a 5-page scene, they're not going to watch 8 takes of that. If it's a shorter scene and you want to do a couple, 2 or 3 takes of it, I have no problem with that. However, make sure they are truly different. Actors will say, hey, I sent you 3 takes and I watched all 3 takes and they're exactly the same. That's like, that serves no purpose other than to annoy people.
No, my hair was like this in the second one.
Yeah.
Because we ourselves,
pause. Yeah.
we can totally see the
100%
difference.
to act-
No one else can.
Like,
Yeah. Like
Laura?
make completely different choices. Like
Yes.
play the character as about ready to lose her, just blow up with anger in one take, and then play the next tape where she's, you know, calming herself down and not about to explode. Like do them really different. And you know what? And if you aren't sure which one is better, ask your agent. Maybe we'll have opinions. Maybe, but I usually let the actor tell me, give me, like say, hey, this is the take I like.
I definitely do. I maybe because my roster is a little smaller, so I do have the time for this, but I encourage especially my younger actors who don't have as much experience. I'm happy to take a look at a couple of different takes. You know, assuming that they don't get them to me 6 seconds before they're due and all that, and I make that clear. But you know, for those of you who don't know me, I'm also a theater director, so I can kind of bring in some of that experience and go, great. So how about we try it like this? And I do a little bit of coaching with them. Maybe it's above and beyond what I have to do, but if it makes it easier for them at the end of the day, because I will, sometimes actors are like, hey, I uploaded 6 takes to casting workbook. Can you approve them, please? I'm like, I'm going to watch one and approve that one because I'm willing to bet they're all the exact same. But I didn't say that.
Hair.
The hair is up and the hair is down is not
So
2 different takes.
I was going to say, I think Laura and Ciel, you just answered that, but Jody Raffi had mentioned, we've got a couple of questions in the chat we'll get to quickly here, but he said, as an agent, would you rather be sent the takes and then pick which one you'd rather be uploaded?
If you send it to me in plenty of time, if you send it to me 10 minutes before the deadline is due, no, I don't have time for that. If I give you 3 days to get a self-tape done, if you want me to get that input, you need to get it to me well in advance. Because like a lot of the times this, you know, everyone sends them the last 10 minutes they're due. And I'm just having like, then it's too late. I have to get them submitted, otherwise casting won't look at them, right? So
Like,
yes,
you rather
get it to me well in advance.
Yeah, I've also had to say to people, I'm like, listen, if I give you this time and attention right now, you are screwing half your teammates. Oh, like I didn't care we call each other teammates, not roster mates, because I'm that girl.
I call them the Sky family. So
nice. Yeah,
and the Sky, you know, like, yeah.
I also still just laugh that very unintentionally, because I didn't think about this, is that you're Sky talent and I'm anchor talent. It's just like Sky versus, like we match, like we like it's a parallel. And I remember when I came up with the name and I messaged you about it, we just had that moment of, yeah, whoops. But yeah, it's if somebody wants me to take a look at their stuff, I'm happy to do it. But like Ciel said, it's like you can't monopolize my time to the detriment of everyone else who I'm submitting. Because especially, you know, where often the folks who want that help are the younger actors. So I have quite a few younger actors on my roster. So it's the, you know, I'm like, okay, well, I can give you 10 minutes, but that's 37 other people who I can't help right now. So yeah, just being aware.
Absolutely.
And we've got 30 people that have been joining us here tonight.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so, and all sorts of folks here. We even have from our ACTRA office, we have our brand new branch rep, Jillian Everell, is here tonight.
Oh.
Welcome, Jillian. Yeah, and we have Marlene Howell from Newfoundland is here with us tonight as well. Sean Morris Ross from our ACTRA Maritimes office too. So all sorts of folks here. And this leading into our next question. Is it true that it's going to be a busy filming year this year? And what's coming and what's going to be filming? What is the scoop? What does everybody know?
I think it's going to be very busy.
I think that it's very probable we're going to have overlapping projects.
Yes.
Yeah. So things are getting like, there'll be a lot of turnaround, a lot of quick
Yeah.
turnaround.
We Taylor Olson just wrapped on his super low budget feature, Dance on the Elephant, Dance with Elephants.
Starts in middle of April.
Yes. Yeah, it got pushed back. Washington Black, of course, Digstown, and those are the things that we know for sure. There's a feature that just started today, I believe. It's a Barry Dunn project. It's heavily autobiographical about his life. And I mean, we're just getting like, it's March. I was gonna say it's February. It's March. Like, we're not, like, we've been busy. We've been cooking already. Normally, this is when we start to come to life, but the industry actually started to come to life 6 weeks earlier than it normally does. So yeah, I think it's going to be really busy.
I'm excited. It's like the film industry didn't see its shadow, so we're not going to have 6 more weeks of winter. You know, as a newer agent, but not new to the industry, I'm just, this is a personal thing. I'm like, I don't remember us ever getting started this early. Like, I know that we've gone late. I remember the Lizzie Borden Winter of Storms year where we were filming into January. But for me, I'm just like, do we normally get started this early? This feels very early.
In the mid 90s, when we had the big sound stage down at Tortec, we shot a lot in the winter. I remember trying to get to set in blizzards in like January. And hopefully, I mean, we have a small soundstage now. Hopefully it would be great if we got a big soundstage where we could do sci-fi and things in. But yeah, it's over the last 15 years, we normally didn't work in the winter. So it definitely is great that we are.
Everything else we can't tell you because we'd have to kill you. So
I have another question. For those who aren't represented by either of you or don't have representation right now who are on this call, what should they do if they do want to apply to be on your roster?
So what I ask everyone to do is to send photo, resume, demo reel if you have one, and a cover letter. If you don't have anything current on your demo reel, like say you were an actor, but I just had a guy join us who was huge in Toronto and then did a different career for 10 years and now is getting back into it. So his demo reel is great, but the newest thing on it was 8 years ago. So in that case, we often send a script and ask you to do a self-tape. I routinely ask people to do self-tapes because I want to know that you can do a self-tape and that you will do a self-tape. And I'm also looking for people who are unique in my roster. I don't need another Kiki Howell. She is my Kiki Howell. So
there's only one.
There's only one.
So you need one. Everybody needs one. So I'm looking for people who are unique in my roster too, right? So, and then what I do, if I really like your self-tape, we used to do coffee. Now we do crazy Zoom meetings. And they've really been quite fun. You know, so that's what I just do, Zoom with you and talk
over Zoom.
Pardon me?
I think I've signed 98% of my roster over Zoom because like I started in a pandemic and I couldn't do the meetings. For me, I'm not Ciel's system works for her because she's learned the hard way and I'm still in the hard way learning. I honestly send me a resume and a headshot and just tell me a little bit about yourself. For me, again, I trust my gut. I'm very much like a vibes person. So you don't need, like, if you've been out of the game for a while or you're looking to come back, just tell me why. And that's usually all I want to know. And then I'll set up a Zoom call if I think we'll be a good fit. And then we'll chat for anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes. And half the time it's not even about anything other than life and like just seeing if we get along, because as I said earlier, I like to work with people who have similar excitable puppy energy as I do, I guess. And so I am also trying to keep my roster smaller right now, just because where I am only the one person, I don't really want to have more than 120, just because I for me right now don't feel like I could be, I want to make sure that that I'm representing my actors as best as I can, and I'm as good of a team player as I can be to them. So unless somebody really is bringing something unique to the table right now, and to be very blunt, diversity is nice. That's something that I really want to see more of just in general, and that's something that I'm working for and networking and trying to find people that maybe don't know that this is an option, because I think that we have so much talent here that isn't necessarily showcased, just because through no one's fault really. It's just the systemic situation that we find ourselves in. They maybe haven't had the opportunities. So I'm always excited to meet new people, period. And but honestly, if anyone wants to connect, I'm just happy to chat and see if we'd be a good fit anyway.
Yeah.
And your email addresses?
Kevin Giroir said he's no longer bringing me chai lattes. Dude.
Cool. So Kevin, there's a spot on my roster for you.
It's a common joke in Sky that that you can bribe me with chai lattes, but I just have to tell you, Kevin, that I actually got a milk steamer for Christmas, and I make my chai lattes at home now.
Now what will we bribe you with?
Puppy treats. Offering to take the dog out of the office for a little while.
Done.
I believe, Kiki, you were asking about how people can contact us. I'm pretty simple. It's Laura Thornton at anchortalentgroup.com.
And I'm Ciel at skytalent.ca. Or info at skytalent.ca.
I also, not gonna lie, if you send me like a homing pigeon or like a Batman signal or perhaps a unicorn, that will get my attention and we'll probably get you a meeting immediately.
Whoa. Ciel, can you repeat your email? I'm gonna just put it in the chat.
Yep. Ciel at skytalent.ca.
Got it. Are there any other questions that anybody, take this moment to, you can ask it on camera if you want. It's FaceTime. How are you all so fabulous? How are we all so fabulous? I assume you're talking about me. Oh no, you're talking about the agents.
No, I'm pretty sure he's talking about you.
You know what? I can answer that question. I'm fabulous because I've been supported and encouraged by a really fantastic community who's been really excited to welcome new people. So that's how I got so fabulous. Thank you very much.
I love that. How are you so fabulous, Ciel?
Because I get to work with wonderful people. I've been doing this a long time. And I have some crazy stories, like negotiating an Eastlink contract while I was in labor with my youngest child. Chris was on that shoot. And a lot of the actors, and because I represent a lot of kids, Laura only represents 16 plus, but I really enjoy working with kids and families. I think being part of a community that's genuinely supportive and kind has really just made this a fabulous job. And that's one thing I would say to all of you. This is a really small market. So if you say something hateful about a producer or a director or even your agent, it always gets back to them and it never represents you well. Like we all know each other.
You're so much more tactful than I am.
Laura and I do quarterly lunch.
Yeah, we literally like get together and like what you're overdue for, and that's my fault, and we will find a time soon. But
yes, we will. Yes,
but we literally sit down and compare notes because we want to know what's going on, and it makes our lives easier. And it's not about, and not to say that we're like gossiping, or like we're not tattling on anyone. We definitely, it's there are times where you're like, oh wow, somebody said that out loud in front of witnesses. Oh, that's a choice.
And I know Laura's very much like this. I support, I'm passionate about the performers I personally represent, of course, but I want to see everyone in this market do well. If you're in a stage play at Neptune and you're not represented by me, you're with another agency and you do a fantastic job, I'm going to tell you did a fantastic job, because I believe that we're building a strong foundation, and it's a cheesy saying, but it's true. It's together we rise. If we build each other up and we work on being a community, we move forward. And we're always fighting against that old trope that all the good actors are in Toronto. And, like one of Laura's fabulous actors last year got a big part. And I said, do you mind if I send her a message just to say, I'm so happy for you? Because I really was, because she is a fabulous actor who I feel had been overlooked in this market for a long, long time. That's the way we do things here. Just be kind, be supportive. This is your community. This is not, it's a weird thing that you do compete against each other, but in the final analysis, this is your community, and let that be what drives you.
Love that.
German over.
Thanks. Well, we have another question just coming in here. Jennifer Campbell. Hello, Jennifer. Jennifer says, with so much work coming, will Sheila and Charlotte be casting projects again this year?
I spoke to Sheila last week.
Yeah,
like I'm assuming probably about the same thing
Yes.
she talked to you about.
Yes.
And the first thing she said was, I'm calling, but just so you know, I'm still retired. I think Sheila will get pulled in for like consulting, maybe more than actual casting. And Charlotte, who knows?
Yeah, Sheila doesn't want to work in the summer. She's very blunt. She is an outdoor girl. So she's going to do the front end of some projects, like help them get set up, but she does not want to do casting. She's very happy in her new life. I haven't heard anything from Charlotte. Charlotte did a great job on season 2 of Digstown. I thought she did a great job casting that. She did a couple of features in 2020 that I thought she did a great job. I hope to see her more. And of course, Erin is going gangbusters. So yeah. But poor Sheila, I keep dragging her back in.
She can't escape.
And I will say, it's like, I think that now that we're seeing more talent agencies pop up, the next thing we need is probably another casting agency. Like Erin's doing a great job, but she's completely slammed, and I think it serves everyone to the best capacity if we have multiple options, because and I know, and God love her, Erin is doing the best she can to train some new people and trying to get all of that set up. And I think that that's kind of maybe the next piece is, as we're growing our industry and we're seeing such incredible growth because of COVID, then it's like, all right, let's take the whole community to the next level. And if it's, it's not us versus Toronto, it's not us versus them, but if we can prove continuously that we've got it here, then why look elsewhere,
Absolutely. And having those boots on the ground casting directors for local casting is so important. As Marlene from Newfoundland was telling us so eloquently the other day on our council meeting.
And by the way, I love Marlene. Listen, is she still on here? She has been, when we had no local branch representative, and there was one project that I think I called her or emailed her about every day for 2 months. She has been incredibly helpful, and I am very thankful for her jumping in and helping us out when we were between branch representatives. And she also is no nonsense and gets stuff done. I almost said a bad word, but I won't swear because you're recording.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you, Marlene.
so grateful to Marlene's help. Just
Thank you, Marlene.
quickly, I think we're about to wrap up. Just quickly, just so you all know, the next Zoom session is going to be so fun. It's about taxes. with Angela, oh my gosh, Angela Poole. And that is going to be March 10th at 7 p.m. We'll send another link, write down your questions. We're assuming CERB and all that craziness is going to be, we'll definitely talk about all that. But if there are any final words from you two fabulous agents?
This was fun.
Thank you so much for asking me. I'm like, I'm just having a moment of like, is this my life?
Yeah.
Here. This is awesome. Honestly, like every single new person I meet in the industry who I haven't met so far has been just freaking awesome. I'm sorry, I almost said the full curse word, but again, people are recording and I've gotten in trouble with that before. But genuinely, like, ACTRA and its members have been so lovely and so helpful with me since I started Anchor, and I'm just so excited to continue to grow. And thank you for inviting me to talk about things I don't fully understand, but you know, Ciel makes me look smart, so we're gonna go with it.
You're very smart. And I just want to say thank you to the ACTRA branch reps. I think you guys are amazing. I don't think the average ACTRA member understands how much of your time you're donating, how you're all busy people with full lives. And I'm very thankful that our local branch office is now fully staffed. But thank you for everything you do. Chris, I call and ask Chris stuff routinely. And I'm very thankful. I think this is a really strong group of counselors, and thank you for everything you're doing for your community.
Wonderful. Thank you too for being here.
Thank you both
Chris,
so much.
Any final words from you, Chris?
Now, this has been a fabulous evening. Thank you both for coming, and thanks for everyone for joining us tonight. We've got people from all over the province, all over ACTRA Maritimes that are here, and some of our members possibly even from PEI New Brunswick here tonight too. So it's been wonderful to see everyone. And like Kirstin says, we have a very fun tax seminar coming up. I think it's next Thursday night, I think, on the 10th. Pleasure to see you all. Happy 2022, and we'll see you all again soon.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Bye. Thank you. Thanks again, Ciel and Laura. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Great discussion.
Bye.
Thank you.